Test. Testing. Testing. Testing for delay. Test. Test. Testing. Testing. Hun, hun, do you hear me? See, yeah. Did you get it? Okay. Okay, what's up, guys? I am doing YouTube streaming now instead of Twitch because, well, I've got 4,000 people that subscribe on YouTube and I've got zero on, well, I got three on Twitch. So I figured I might as well switch to YouTube and go from there. I'll probably stream to both simultaneously if I get, if this goes better. And then, no matter what, I'll still be creating content one way or the other about all the Excel models I'm building. So, uh, this is normally I do Tuesday mornings 9 a.m., but this is kind of a test stream. I'm gonna do a small thing here on the enterprise SaaS model that I built a couple months ago, and we're gonna see how this goes. I like YouTube. I like how it's structured as well. Just as far as the streaming platform. And okay, perfect. It looks like this is only a 1 second delay. Okay, that's good. Um, oh, and try to type something into the chat. All right. So, well, let's just get into this. What I wanted to do on this model was show cash flow. Right now, it's the main purpose of the model is to allow someone to show three different contract configurations, and the biggest thing here is different contract lengths, and then based on the retention rate and the contract length, you're going to get renewals every, whenever the period is over. So, all right, I saw it. Looks good. Um, what? It is? You can probably adjust your resolution. Um, so the hard thing is, well, you just in general, that is amortized over the period. So if the average contract value is $50,000, and let's just do a 12-month contract length. So everybody that joined in February, and let's just go to our P&L here. So in February, we have one new customer from organic, two that joined via ad spend. So that's a total of three customers added for the month. And then you've got your other two tiers here that start as well based on the assumptions. But what we want to see is, okay, tier one revenue, 12,500. So that's taking the three customers. I'll go back to here. It's taking three customers times 50,000 and dividing that by 12. Oh, what did I do? Oh, I multiplied the wrong thing. 3 times 50 is 150,000 divided by 12, 12,500. So that's where we're getting this 12,500. Now, what the model does is it assumes, if you look in our first matrix here, this is tier 1. There's a matrix for each possible customer configuration. But um, we have to know the year joined because there are different contract values depending on the year. There's also some other things. Okay, right. Okay, so make sure you guys adjust your resolutions if you're watching this on YouTube through your phone. Apparently, it starts off kind of blurry if you don't. Anyway, here we go. So we have a cohort for each month. So we don't start adding customers till February. We can obviously change that. You just adjust this. Let's put it to January. Now you got your first customers in January. So what this is doing is saying, okay, month 1, you had one or 3 people join in month 1. Those 3 people are going to give you 12,500 each month for 12 months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then in month 13, since it's a 12-month contract, you have renewals. So there's a couple things going on here. Number one, those 3 customers, unless we're going to be using decimals here, but that's fine. So those 3 customers, let's say it's 3,000, but it's just 3 in this case. You're only going to have 80% retention rate on the contract. So you now have 2.4 left. And I know that's a decimal, it's fine. It's a forecast, so it's giving you essentially the probability that you might have 3, you might have 2. This gives you some number in between based on your retention rate. It'd be more of an even number if you had like 3,000. Yeah, then you have 2,400 left. So it's easier to understand with bigger numbers, but it's the same concept, and the math works. Even if you do have low volume contracts or low volume customer pools, that's fine for the purpose of the forecast. So you got 2.4, and now they're going to pay another 12 months in advance. And well, or they could be paying so again, this model is fine if your customers are only paying you every month, even if it's a 12-month contract or 6 months or whatever, they're just paying monthly installments. Then the model and the cash flow is exactly fine. But I'm going to add in a configuration here where you can put if the gross receipts are collected from customers at the beginning of the contract, i.e., in month 1, if it's a 12-month contract, month 1, month 13, month 25, and so on. If that's the case, okay, so month 13, you only got 2.4 left. And this is assuming, so here's where it gets tricky. It's assuming there is an improvement in the total value of a contract over time. So what we have here is in year 2, and the model is going to go through and track the life of each customer cohort, so it knows, like, if a customer cohort, joins in month 4, and by customer cohort I just mean all the customers that joined in a month that are part of the same group. Let's say they join in month 4. Well, then in the model, month 16 would be essentially the end of year 1 for them, and month 17 would then be year 2. But you get the idea. We can't just use the year of the model. We have to know how long each customer has been there. So year two, so this means the model should be doing, so you have less customers, but they're paying a little bit more. They're paying this amount, and you're dividing that by 12 still, because it's 12-month contracts. So 10,300 should be the number we see in the matrix. And we see 10,100. So what are we off by here? Let's see, 2.4. This is taking, oh, this is taking renewal count, so it's renewal, it's the first renewal. Oh, okay, so renewal 1, 2, 3, right? Okay. There's a lot going on here, trust me. Um, okay, so renewal count times revenue 20, row 20, and then VLOOKUP 350, and then look up this. Okay, so one is 100%. So what that means is on the first renewal count, there is no change. So they paid 50,000 for year one. Now into year two, it should be 80. What am I doing here? So your renewal count 1, 2, 3. So this is assuming 0 to 1 is a 1 multiplier. And this multiplier is based on E22, which is your... Okay, hold on. Forget everything I just said. And it's been a couple months that I've been in this contract. So this row here is increasing the average contract value if you join in year 1 versus 2, 3, 4, and 5. This row 22 is defining how much you're going up by in the contract value. So let's say again we had 3 to start, 80% are left after year 1. That's 2.4. 2.4 times, and now instead of 50,000, it's going to be 51% more than 50,000. So 1 plus that is this, and then you divide it by 12. And there is a 10,100, which this should equal this, which is true. Okay, so perfect. Okay, so that all makes sense. And you can see if I adjust the contract length down to like 6 on the Matrix 1 tab, we are now seeing renewals in month 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now 7 is 20,200, and again, it's dividing the total contract value by the total users or customers that are left after that contract is up based on the renewals and amortizing that. So the main change we're doing here is allowing for you to do cash flow. And I'm going to put a thing on the control that says customer receipts collected up front, beginning of contract, or customer receipts collected evenly over life of contract. And I guess we only need one box here. So if you put yes, then we have to do an adjustment to cash flow, because now when everybody joins for a given group, the value of their contract is collected right away. And that's going to get complicated because we have this percentage increase in value. So let's just start building it and see what's going to happen. So up front or evenly. I'm gonna have to find a shorter way to do this. Customer receipts collected up front. There we go. And then I'll just put a note in here saying if yes, then cash flow will adjust. Otherwise, just use. It looks like we've got a couple of viewers in here. What's going on? I'm streaming on YouTube instead of Twitch, if you're curious. Just because I already have 4,000 subscribers here and I don't have any on Twitch, so I figured this might be a better way to stream. Also, I normally stream Tuesday mornings, but I'm testing out YouTube today on its how the stream goes. So I figured I'll do a little test here um, with this model upgrade I wanted to do. Anyway, so if yes, then cash will adjust to account for receipts collected at beginning of contract. If no, then they will be spread evenly over contract life. So if you look at the revenue assumptions, I put 6 in here. You've got renewals happening every 6 months, so that's why the let's see what's good. Okay, so here it shows the customer counts. So like month 1 we had 3. They're there for the whole 6 months, and then there's a renewal period on month 7, and this is all automated. If I change the inputs, so we're going at 3, now 2.4, 1.8, and it shows you just the churn of each group. And these numbers will change as the assumptions change and everything. We have configurations for the contract length, different ways customers are added, CPA, organic growth, based on ad spend. So it's a really, really great model. But this cash flow feature is kind of the new thing I want to put in here, because it could be fairly significant if you've got 12-month contracts or longer, and if you are collecting that money up front, that's going to change like the cash requirements and the IRR and everything. It's going to be very impactful. So we're going to try and add it here. So the simple thing is, what we want to do is we're just going to put, I'm going to try and keep this on the same tab. So cash flow accounting for when contracts are received. or when cash is received. So reduce amortized amount, add initial receipt. So net change in cash flow, and then we'll just apply that up to the top number. All right, so here we do minus essentially all revenue, which is easy because this is all recurring revenue contracts. And then now adding back initial receipts is a lot more complicated. So I know I'm gonna have to separate it out. Let's just go tier one. So tier one, we know the customers added is this number 3, and we know, let's see, how is this gonna happen? I need to refer to something else actually. We're gonna have to go, let's go to the matrix tab here. And to get what we need to know is when this number is different, I think. And then we just multiply that by the customer count. Okay, so let's try this. So we'll have to do this for each matrix tab. Okay, so if, and there won't be, let me think. No, there could be near one. So if, I'm trying to think the best way to do this, because this has to be scalable no matter what is put into the contract length. So I need to know what's the first month of each renewal period, I guess is the thing I need to know. What do we do up here? This wouldn't be it. So I guess it'd be if the life is equal to a multiple of the contract length. Maybe. Let's think. Because I just need to know when there's a month when's a renewal month. All right, how did I do churn? Renewal count, value, churned. No, so that's different. See, this is where this gets difficult. I need to figure out a reference. What did I do here for renewal count? So this is just one counting out, counting the remaining. Okay, here. E8. Let me change this to a different number. Let's do like 7 months. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 renewal. So if we go to the validation, okay, yeah, this is counting. So this is the renewal month, and this is where we need to count all the receipts if we're going to do cash, get the actual cash flow, assuming we're marking yes for collection at the beginning of the contract period instead of amortizing it. However, 0 the very first one's always going to be different. So 8's right, 15, 22, but the first one we have to do a special calculation, I think, because let's see. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, renewal. And then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, let's go to a different schedule. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Renewal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Renewal. So each of these are right. So the life of each contract, which is counted out. Where is it counted at? Here. We just need to count that number. If this number matches any of these numbers, we know collect receipts based on the customer count. So let's see where we. And no, while I'm doing these streams, if you haven't heard, I will take suggestions of potential models to build in the future, customization on previous work, all kinds of stuff. Essentially, it's my I'm accessible during this time. Okay, so if I guess we're gonna have to say if the life is 1 equals 1, then always take the first number, which will be, we want the count, cohort rated this number, and then the amount received is going to be 3 times the average contract value of this. If we're matching the year, match, and I've got the year that they joined here. Yep, year joined, because this will be different for all the different cohorts. Match that with our year and 0. So you now see $150,000 there, which makes perfect sense because we had 3 people join and they paid $50,000 each. Let's see, we don't need to lock this. We don't need to lock this. This needs locked. Now it's going to be tricky because don't need to lock that like this. We have increases in contract value over time. Well, potentially if you put a percentage rate here in this input. So let's drag this around. So if that's 1, otherwise, get to the end of our if statement here. Otherwise, if, and then we can count regularly if this well, shoot. We need an array. We need to see if this equals any of the months listed on the validation tab. Or I guess now if we're going forward, so we've got logic for the very first the very first initial contract. Future contracts, we might be able to just reference if the renewal count is greater in the month versus the previous month. So, and that will trigger So otherwise, if this is greater than this, then take, oh, see, this is where it's going to get really complicated. Well, we're doing 1%, so it's the even percentage, so I think we can use exponent here. Equals greater than that. Then, so we'll do the remaining, just 2.4, yeah. Then do 2.4 customers left times index. Now we're gonna do the same thing here, indexing this. Index the revenue if it matches, but we need to raise that to the exponent. Like, so this is the first renewal, so it'd be 1% raised to 1. But for the second, so we need to know actually what renewal it is as well. So when we have that recorded, or we've got that in the matrix, which is perfect. So I think we just do, so it'd be that 50,000 in this case, and then raised to 1% one time. And I think you just do times 1 plus the rate, and that's locked. We're getting pretty in depth here. Raised to the renewal period, which is up here somewhere. Renewal period, count join, age of cohort, year joined, year joined. Wait, what? Ah, this is the year joined extrapolated. Raised to this. Okay. And then otherwise, if that doesn't match anything, then just return 0. Otherwise 0. Now the tricky part. Let's see if it worked. All right. So for cohort 1, they joined. 3 people joined, paid for, in this case, it wasn't 12 months. It was 7 months ahead. But that doesn't matter for the amount. So they paid 50 times 3, and then now in month 8, so here's where we got to test, let's see if we did it right. So in month 8, we have 3 left, and now we've got 80% of 3, so we got 2.4 left. They were paying $50,000. But now, so they were paying, so it'd be 120. However, we need to times that by this 121.2 and 121.2. We match, and then in theory that should also match our, well, no, that's 121.2 is not going to match anything else because the revenue is based is divided over the contract length. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this should match. So 150, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 121.2. Perfect. So that matches. We're just collecting it right at the beginning. All right, we're getting somewhere here. Scroll down, scroll over. I think I did all the locking correctly. Let's make sure this looks right. So you collect 150, 121, 91, 61, 31. Now the only reason this cash flow is going to be a little bit different than the cash flow if you're amortizing it is because let's say you do 12-month contracts, people who joined in month um, 55, you're only going to see, month 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. You're not going to see values of contracts beyond that. But with this, you're assuming the cash is coming in right up front, so you're going to see the full value of the contract recognized, even though um, in the current cash flow that's dividing it by evenly by the contract length, you won't see that remaining. So that's the only real difference, and that's why this cash flow is not likely to match it won't match the other one. And that's why it's a completely different calculation we're doing here. And let's see, make sure this is the last. Um, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. 31, 218, and then they're done. After that, let's check, make sure like the second month cohort's working. So this is 31, 270. Well, let's go over here. So, okay, so no, this is not correct. This should be 152, 150,000 as well. So what did we do here? Or did more people join? Hold on. Did month 2, we had more than 3 probably join. It was probably a little bit more than 3. Yeah. Well, no. Hold on. Let's get some decimals out here. Yeah, 3.01, because we have some increase. So this is 3.005. Hold on. This is 3.0. Okay, so this is 3 even. 3.05, 01. So it's going up a bit, which is completely fine. So that's why this number is a little bit more. So this is 152, 150,200, 121, 4, slightly more. So this should just be slightly more, which it is. So this looks good. Okay. It looks like this is working completely fine and like it's supposed to. Let's go to a future month. So let's go to month 13. So yeah, this is where you get a big jump because now you are increasing the contract value from 50,000 to 51,500. And in year 2, we're also increasing the spend or increasing the organic customers added. We're also increasing the CP. Well, what are we doing? We've increased the CPA, lowered the CPA, so that means the same money spent, but more people are added. So that's why you see a jump here. It's not the contract value exactly. So just going up here to the count, month 13. Yeah. So I mean it's not a huge amount. 3.2. Let's make sure we want to make sure this is right. So, and the best way to check it is going to the revenue for cohort 13, which is right here. And it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 163, 125 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 versus 152. So yeah, it's gone up about 10,000. So 163, 125. So we want to make sure 163, 125 was calculated, which it is here. Perfect. All right. So this looks good. I mean, and honestly, if you wanted to do this manually, I guess you would just go to your expected revenue and just count it. I mean, it'd be crazy, but count it like however many months ahead or however long the contract values are. Sum it up, count it for that month, then go to the next one and count it for that month. But now this formula does all that work for us. So we just aggregate that out to get the monthly cash receipts. and then we can reference this. And it's real simple to add this to the other two. I'm just going to 562 because there's potentially 3 different types of customer configurations you can have. So we're going to go there, 562, do it on this one. Just make sure I didn't reference the tab name in any of this. Oh, I did. Okay, so we got to remove that real quick. So we want to anything referencing matrix 1 just needs to reference the cell instead, so it doesn't, so we don't reference the wrong tab in the matrix 2 and 3. All right, so that one, this one. I know Excel's trying to be too smart for its own good sometimes. And that one. All right. These numbers should all be the same. Drag it over, down. Yep, perfect. And drag this down. 562, 562. All right, now we got the right numbers. So if I were to increase tier 2 customers contract, just let's say it's $1 million. Oh, whoops, that's the ad spend. Contract value. We should see a lot bigger numbers in matrix 2 now. Wait, what was it before? It was 500,000. So here at $1 million, we're seeing 419, 418, around 400,000 a month. If we undo that to what it was, it's now 400. Okay, so that should be higher. Let's just check something here. So that's right, that's right, that's right, and that's right. Our references are good. Tier 2, 419. And we're saying now it's $1 million. Let's just say 10 million. Matrix 2. Okay, something is off here because this can't be. Oh, shoot. Okay, so one thing I can't do, I have to do this manually, is the reference to the contract value, so it can't be row 18 anymore. It's got to be row 39 in this case. So 39, 39 is the number. Times this. Yep, same thing, just different formula. So 39, 39. And this is what it is, just checking everything, going through. So now we should see a bigger number. Yeah, 83 million. All right, that makes more sense. So let's go back to 500,000 here. Okay, and now you see 4 million, and then at 50,000, your factor 10 below, you see the 400,000 for tier 1, or 690 in this case. It was 400,000 in this one because some of the assumptions were different in here, even though we were referencing the wrong revenue. Okay, so we've got matrix 1 done, matrix 2, and then we can have our full cash flow. It will account for receiving the money up front. And we're only going to use this if we mark a yes on the control tab. And otherwise, if no, we'll just keep amortizing it out like it's doing, which is just dividing total contract value divided by the contract length, whatever it might be. 562. Now, if we put it month to month, the numbers should be exactly the same, and that's going to be our check at the end to make sure I did all the formulas correctly. So now we're going to 60. 60. Some of the most important things you can do as a modeler is putting in check calculations to all the stuff you're doing, just to make sure you don't miss stuff, especially when there's a lot going on like here. All right, so we've got our cash flow, our actual cash added. So now we can go back to the monthly. We've got the amortized cash here being subtracted out. We need to add in now each of these, which will be this coming from tier ones, this from tier 2, and this from tier 3. And this makes perfect sense because there were 3 people that joined on the first month. They all paid 50,000, so there you go. Now month 2, we had slightly more people join, so like 3.01 or whatever, or 0.05, so a little bit more revenue. And we're going to just drag all these over. So now here's the actual cash flow. So the actual net change from what it is should be this plus E318. And this is what we'd have to adjust cash flow by to get to account for that. Only if and see this extra here is because you're doing everything up front. So this is actually just going to zero out if this equals yes, then go ahead and do that math, otherwise zero out. And so that wasn't too bad of an update, and this will now allow people who want to see the actual cash flow effect of doing of collecting at the beginning of contracts. So I'm just going right up to here. I'm going cash flow. Oh, and I did actually a tax calculation here. So we're going to go right to, I want to put this into not EBITDA, I want to put it into cash flow. So we're going to add this to it. Technically, and this will change, and watch here before I do that real quick. So right now, the internal rate of return for the project is 44%. This will go higher after I do this because you're getting cash sooner. So let me redo that. Drag this out. So in total, because there's a little offset, you're getting roughly $69 million more. And again, this is like scaling pretty big, so that's not that big of a number. But $69 million more over 60 months by collecting sooner. It doesn't mean overall, like if you run everything to the end, it's all the same, but you always have an offset if you're going to collect at the beginning. So now, wait, what? Project IR, what's 27? Okay, hold on. So why did this should not have gone down? Let's undo this. Let's just see if we understand what's going on here. So our internal rate of return, distribution. So this is what the numbers are right now, assuming cash is evenly spread out. Let's add in, let's assume, okay, taxes are going to be based on the monthly amortization. Even if you are collecting it right at the beginning, taxes aren't based on that because you haven't earned it, so it's unearned revenue, but the cash flow is going to look at it. So we should add this to cash flow after taxes, which is essentially zeroing out this, zeroing out all revenue, adding in that. 6.2, so all these numbers are more. Okay. So I think what was happening is the taxes were getting all messed up because it was assuming you were making that money and the taxes were rising, even though technically the taxable amount is only what has been earned and the cost related to that. And so, hold on. No, no, that's not right either. I think what happened there is I didn't update the annual tab yet, and the cash flow before tax is not what was used. Hold on, wait a second. Why would that still wouldn't make sense? Oh, okay, so this cash flow after tax was not referencing cash flow before tax. It was doing EBITDA minus debt service, debt proceeds repayment, exit, and then taxes. Okay, that makes sense. So it was just a reference thing. So we'll add that back here. In theory, and technically it should also be added here. Drag them over separately. So when I change this one, it actually doesn't go anywhere at the moment until I update how the annual tab works. Let's add this. All right. And now again, yeah, project IRR is a lot higher. Let's see, remain equity to. Um, hold on. Why is it a different number though? That shouldn't be. So if I don't do anything at all, we're at 44%. If I add back this to cash flow before taxes, we are at 27. It's gone down. And I assume it's not because of taxes. Let's update this part on here. C316. And then let me sum up. Again, but this shouldn't affect what we're looking at. Let's see here, and then add back the net. $95,835. 95,835. Okay, so it's the same. I can't figure out why the internal rate of return has gone down. I guess it's saying you don't need to borrow as much. There's only 50,000 loan proceeds, that wouldn't affect it that much. So our old number was, for the whole project, was 26,044,000. Our new one is 19 million. Because let's see, this is the same, but we have negative 4 million. Sum is 277. Okay, so it's taking the lower of the numbers. Oh, my brain is hurting. Why is this? Okay. Because I need to understand what's happening to make sure this is accurate. So all we did was add in the net cash flow effect of this to here, and somehow our numbers got way out of whack. Like if I undo this, all this, back to how it was. Okay, distributions are now like this. Remain equity to use. Total cash is positive. Wait, this is positive. So saying there's no positive, there's -5. Now, if I put it back, the distributions are showing no contributions. We're showing no contributions. Plenty of equity. Why is this 0? Okay, this shouldn't be -4 million. Sum is 277. Let's see. Let's see. Where in the heck was I? Cash flow after tax. 4,958,000. Now if I now how does that change whatsoever when I change that? It shouldn't. Oh, come on. Like, am I losing my mind here? We did the hardest part. This part should be easy. Okay, sum of 277 if 74. Oh my goodness, I see. So, uh, this needs to be the same. It's doing 77 based on 74. So if I did put taxes in there, it would be all weird. We need just sum 77 only. $77, $77. And then this should be $77, $77. Okay, great. That would make sense of why it was being weird. And the reason why I couldn't tell it was off is because these were actually the same because I didn't put any taxes in, so it didn't matter. Now, if we put this in here, drag it over, this should have no effect on anything, which it doesn't. Perfect. You're still at an IRR of 44%. And now, if we add it to our actual cash flow after tax number, now you can see the numbers, yeah, 2,096%, much higher. It's saying that you can get all that cash flow early. You don't have as much burn early on. And it's a much different number. Okay, let's put this back onto the annual. So we get a proper number on that one too, so 316. Now, when I go and do the check, it should match exactly, if I put it monthly, month to month, the number should be exactly the same. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I'm just making sure I hit everything. And all the other aspects are accounted for with cash flow. This is the only like weird cash item that's on this entire model is just, are we accounting for contract value at the beginning or over the life of the contract? All right, let's look at the visual. I just want to make sure nothing looks crazy. Revenue, EBITDA, none of that's affected. It's just this cash flow numbers, what we're seeing. Is let's make sure. So we got to change it here. Net cash effect if receipts collected. At start. And this number would be here. The net effect of reducing the cash in, adding the actual or the revenue that would be collected instead. So now this needs to add in here. And your number 96,258, 96,258. Yep. 90, where is it? Oh, I gotta add this out of here, I forgot. So add this to here. Add this to here. 96,258. Okay, good. Okay, we're almost done. So if I go to So why is this false? Ah, we actually, now that the assumptions are updated, we have more cash than we need. So we actually only need 400. Let's just say investor, oh, investors only contribute 200,000. Okay, perfect. Owners, why is this 0? Everything's going to investors. Let's split that to 50-50. Okay, perfect. All right, now let's make sure we didn't double count. So if I change all these to month, meaning they're only 1 month long, instead of 7 and 12 or whatever I had, um, perfect, no effect. That's exactly right. Should be no effect. Now this seems a bit high here. Let's like, did I change one of the assumptions like extremely? Because that seems high from what it was. I don't think I changed enough to make it that different. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that makes sense. It is high because if I only have one, if the contract length's only 1 month and you're paying $150,000 a month, um, it's gonna be super high. So like more realistic numbers might be, $250. Oh, now there's not enough money. Again, these assumptions are arbitrary. Let me just, what do we have here? Let's just do essentially divided by 12 just to see. So if we put this at like 12,000, 10, all right, yeah. Nope, still not enough. Let's say 50,000. I just want to see some numbers here that are not, when there's actually cash returned. Okay, this looks normalized, 12% IRR. It looks like the logic's working just fine. And then if I put no here, it just is what it is. Same numbers, 12.3, yep. This is just zeroed out. Now if I were to put the contract length to like 12, 6, and 3, good, that's still no, so this didn't, well yeah, the contract length would affect the revenue because instead of every month, it's now every X months you're collecting that money, so that makes sense. If we go yes here, now it's even higher, which would make sense. Now your first two are the same because why? $700,000, 700,000. Um, what am I missing here? Contract. Oh, whoops! I changed the starting organic customer count. This should be 1. Make this 12. 6 and 3. Okay. So that's good. Okay, now we're seeing the correct numbers. Net cash. All right, and then because 12 contract value 50,000. What? Why is this going so negative? Uh, start month, term, gain account. Somehow, this number is getting what in the world? Control C12. This should not be $45 million. What the heck? Oh, is it the ad spend? Yeah. Oh wait, no, this is even negative. So it could be the spend we're putting on annualized fully loaded salaries. Um, and I know why. It's because we had really small numbers in the assumptions originally. So I put like small numbers for here. This needs to go up if we're doing bigger. Because at this rate, you're not making money even on the gross profit barely. Well, some. Let me see the ad spend. 50. So if we put this down to like 10,000. No, that wouldn't matter actually. So 0.5. I'm just trying to see. We've got all our math working. Just wanted to test to make sure this assumptions are right. 75. If we hit no on our slicer, where are we at now? Zeros. Okay, this should not be negative 60 million. I didn't change really anything. I guess the length of the contract. Okay. So I lowered the length of the contract a lot and I kept the same retention rate, meaning that now like these customers are not going to last nearly as long. Let's raise this up to like 98% on these now that they're lower. Let's put this up to 90, 90. 59 million, still way too much. Try 500,000. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't completely getting, like, the higher I put the contract value, the lower the more cash needed. That was crazy. All right, this looks like it's all working fine. Um, the the math is working when I set it to month you zero out. Let's put this back to yes and see. That goes up. Now if we put all the contracts back to 1, it's all the same. Yep. Okay. So I think we're all good here. I'm gonna put these back. I'm just gonna put these all the 12-month contracts. And you can see what major, now if you look at the distribution, is completely different um, cash flow with changing the value of contracts, the churn. Say this was back to 80% retention on all these. This is 85 maybe. Then you're looking very different here. So this, we only needed in this case 190,000. Essentially, this is really going to impact the startup cost. You're going to need a lot less if you're collecting receipts right off the bat. For like, and the longer the contracts are, the more, like if the contracts are, so look at this, your IR is like 8,000. If your contracts are only 6, now I guess you're collecting the money every 6 months instead of 12, and you're not collecting 12 months right off the bat. You're collecting 6, so it's a little bit of a different dynamic, but it's huge. Like if I put no here, drop down to 2,000, IR drop from 8 to 2. Now my assumptions are just arbitrary. They're kind of crazy, but I like to see just the relative numbers. So that actually cut it in a fourth, a little bit more than a fourth of what it was in terms of internal rate of return. By collecting cash up front rather than spreading it evenly over the contract. Okay, so now I think we're all good here. I'm going to save this. I'll update it on the vendor sites too. Essentially, the model will work exactly like it did, but if you want to account for customer receipts hitting right at the beginning, you could put in a yes here, and it will just adjust the final cash flow to show that. And it'll show here too, like the annual effect of collecting your money right up front. All right, well, that's all I got. I'm going to end the stream, and normally, again, I'll stream Tuesday mornings. This was just kind of an extra stream because I wanted to test out YouTube.